A budding model for India's growth story. India is growing at a very fast rate, and in this paper, we have just tried to present on the basis of various reports given by United Nations Development Programs and RBI that how India is developing and what is the role of various levels of people in our growth. When we talk about financial inclusion, it is basically including all the members of the society in the growth of the economy. So first let me define financial inclusion. According to the chairman of the Committee on Financial Inclusion, Dr. C. Rangarajan, this committee was formed in year 2008, and he has defined financial inclusion as the process of ensuring the access to financial services. The basic focus is on financial services, and since financial inclusion, as the name itself suggests, it includes the word financial, it has to do with the banking industry more. Financial services and timely and adequate credit facility where needed by the vulnerable groups. We will be defining the vulnerable groups in the coming slides, as such as weaker sections and low income groups at an affordable cost. The more important word over here is affordable cost. The credit facility or otherwise the finance is available in the economy, but the thing is whether it is affordable for everyone or not. So that is the main concern. If a person who is working as a laborer, whether he will be able to get a loan at a 10% or a 15% from a bank, is it possible for him or not? So this is the major issue over here. The scope for financial inclusion is related to various services which may be included under financial inclusion. It is the services, bank accounts, because it is very difficult for a person like a laborer or an unprivileged person to have an account in a bank, because it is very difficult to spare an entire day and go to the bank to get an account opened and get it managed in future. Or also they don't have much of savings. So to manage everything, they should be having an account which is easily manageable. That is an important thing. Then immediate credit, in case of an emergency, they need immediate credits. If they don't have these services with them, so they will have to
time limit 15 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, sir. So immediate credit in case of emergency services, the savings product in case they are saving, from whatever they are earning for future. The remittance and payment services, for example, if an unemployed person is getting some benefit from the side of government, they need to have some accounts or similar type of arrangements so that they can get certain the payments like that. Insurance and healthcare products, they can be again linked with financial services, the mortgage facility, the financial advisory services, so that they can plan for their future, and the entrepreneurial credit in case some of them plans to undertake some entrepreneurial activities in future. But why do we need financial inclusion? In this slide, we have discussed both the need as well as the benefits of financial inclusion. The basic need is because of the high transaction cost these people, the vulnerable groups, may be having, and the benefits are to increase a shift towards saving, and which is otherwise prevalent in India, but because we don't have the security of our savings, so people prefer to keep whatever they have with them at their places, or they give it to someone who is more reliable or who has a better sense of investment. But to keep things with them or to invest it in places, it is difficult for them to decide where to go for it. So financial inclusion, as the advisory services are available, they are given a direction that where should they invest such investments which they have. Improve access to credit in case of entrepreneurial and emergency cases, enable efficient payment mechanisms so that timely availability of credit is there. The resource base for financial institution, even though the institutions which may be working for the betterment of these these type of people, the vulnerable groups, they should be having a financial support for that, because if you have the money with you and you are providing everything to these people, then you also need a backup to cover the contingency liabilities, or to if you are not able to recover that investment. Basically, the financial inclusion, if it is being implemented in its very spirit, that it will be including all these services, that is saving and development towards saving, the loan and credit facilities, remittance, micro insurance services. These have been covered under various services which are to be included under financial inclusion. Okay, these over here we have defined the people who are covered under vulnerable groups or who need to be included in our financial backup, so that we can improve the economy. We cannot improve an economy if we are excluding some of our groups, because if we are just taking the top of the pyramid and evaluating that we are growing at this percent rate or this percent, that is not the actual reality. We have to cover the entire pyramid, and these people are at the base of it, and these are having the number which is majority. The measures for promoting financial inclusion, these are the measures which are being implemented by various organizations, various banking institutions, even the United Nations development programs which have been conducted. They suggest these measures. There are no-frill accounts. Many banks, the banks which are offering financial inclusion services, they are giving no-frill accounts. They are just giving the normal account in which the person can just can save their investments, and no additional benefits, because it will lead to a lesser cost for the account holder. Is
this measure you are suggesting, or the measures taken?
These have been taken.
Okay.
Yeah, these are the measures which has promoted financial inclusion. Although it is not very prominent, people are not very much aware of it, but still these are there. And as the member of the business field, it is our responsibility and duty to make people aware of it, apart from the organizations which are actually undertaking financial inclusion, because these people, they are not having access to information. They are not very they cannot trust people so easily, because it is their hard-earned money. They cannot just leave that money to anyone who can just fool them out. KYC norms are to be simplified, the introduction of general purpose credit card, and one-time settlement for overdue loans. These are some of the measures which are being utilized by banking institutions and other non-banking institutions which are a part of the financial inclusion measures. The technologies which are being already tried in India with the help of RBI and the other banks, they are the smart card and handheld terminals, etc., which are providing a faster service to the customers, which are again belonging to the unprivileged one. The low cost ATMs, this also involves the mobile ATMs, so that these working people who cannot spare time, they can have an access to these ATMs, and the kiosk banking, which are again mobile kiosk banking is also available. For example, the kiosk banking of SBI, they are also providing these mobile vans which are providing the banking services to these people. The SMS banking and mobile banking, since phone is available with each and every person, and people are becoming more and more literate, so this part is also being utilized. And public call office connectivity, and this is kind of a call center wherein people can call and just ask for help in case they are having any doubt regarding the investment and other financial inclusion related aspects. The RBI and financial inclusion, basically financial inclusion was the term which was first used by RBI in its annual policy statement in the year 2005-2006. So it has a major role. RBI has played a major role in promoting financial inclusion or bringing financial inclusion in India. So it has taken a majority of steps, like nationalization of more banks, so that more number of people can access to the banks, and at a very convenient manner.
This is suggestion?
No, it is already there.
What do you mean by the nationalization of more banks?
A nationalization of more banks. Since 2005, more number of banks are there. Even the private players are increasing. Even in year 2014, more banks are to be nationalized, or they are to be started. So by this, more number of people will get the access to banking services. So this is a positive step towards financial inclusion. Then priority sector lending requirements for the banks. So in this case, a priority sector has been created. A priority has been created for the banks, that you have to plan for the financial inclusion, and you have to open around 200 to 250 accounts every year, which are from the vulnerable groups. Establishment of regional rural banks, that this will give banking facility to those people who are living in the rural sector, who are not easily who were earlier not easily able to access the banking services, which were otherwise situated in the urban areas. The service area approach and in linking self-help groups and other similar type of service providers, so that the customer can build a trust in these services. Pricing has been made free so that banks themselves can charge the prices, but they should be made affordable. And I'll skip the rest of the point because of the time. And these are the basic challenges. The basic challenges are of the activities, because banking services are having in itself a lot many services, and when we have to plan that we have to provide these services, we have to plan at various levels. So this scaling up of activities is very difficult for the banks, because they also have to consider their profitability. The transaction cost is very high. We have to bring down the transaction cost for this. The banks and I have tried various approaches. The appropriate business model is yet to be developed. They have tried a lot many things, but nothing concrete has been provided yet. The business correspondent model is too restrictive. They do have business correspondents. They have people who are going in the field and providing banking services on behalf of the organization, but still it is very restrictive. We cannot send our business correspondents to each and every place or location, and the trust is also lacking in such cases. The lack of interest and involvement of big technology player. We don't have sufficient technology, because technology comes at a cost, and when the cost comes, we just see the profits also. So that is also.
Conclude the paper.
Okay, just these are the basic prerequisites which are needed, and eventually I'll conclude. The basic conclusion is, this is just a conceptual information for all of us, and it needs a lot of work to be done in this sector. If we want our country to be at the top, or we want our country to be counted in the best in the field of banking sector, we have to cover all the part of our society, and for that we as an individual also have to talk to people and tell them, this is what you need. You can talk to banks, you can talk to people, because there are a lot of things which are available for the unprivileged ones.
Thank you very much for the excellent paper. Now I would like to invite the questions from the audience.
The questions.
This is really a real question hour session, because whenever the chairman do not want the audience to ask the question, what they say, all the papers are complete. By that time, any questions or no questions?
So this paper is not yet complete.
No. All papers, I said. That's why I'm allowing one paper to be presented, and immediately there should be discussion. Please.
Ma'am, that's really a wonderful concept you have actually come out, but the main query is that how we can actually correlate. On the one side, we're discussing about the unprivileged and people who are underemployed, unemployed. On the second hand, for their support, we are having technological support, as you mentioned, mobile support, computer support. The people who are unprivileged, who are not having sufficient knowledge, sufficient education, how can they be actually benefited with the use of SMS banking, internet banking, and all the stuff?
So see, when we are talking about the vulnerable or the unprivileged ones, they are the ones who are being exploited the most because of the lack of the knowledge. And if we are having the financial inclusion, they can access to the services which are being provided by the banks, the trusted institutions. So if those services are to be offered by these banks, and that too at an affordable cost, they will prefer to go to these organizations rather than going to the unorganized markets, wherein they are paying very high interest rates, and that too they are mortgaging their properties, and eventually that property is being taken away by them.
I have an interjection here.
Yes, sir.
What he is asking and what they are not going hand in hand. The reason that I have noted over here from your lecture itself, one issue that is being taken up by the RBI, because you are in fact that she has not shown not responding that in that context, is about the financial literacy program vigorously doing. I have experience of more than 1 year, I would say, regarding particularly this direct experience with this financial literacy program. Sir, I would also request you, if you wish, that I am a coordinator of all Delhi colleges financial literacy program on behalf of RBI. So each year RBI is organizing financial literacy program in the colleges. Though I suggested them that you have to organize in Juggi Jhopdi, slum, other villages, so they said the other wings are doing, but Delhi RBI, the Delhi office of RBI, sorry, is conducting the financial literacy program in a college to the college student, and through that only we'll be able to talk about the utility of banking services. Yes. So definitely, as you said, that ATM or this thing by internet banking, net banking cannot be done by illiterate people. Sorry. So the devise, or they may have already devised different modalities for creating awareness among the illiterate people can be financially included.
Yes, so in case of SBI kiosk, if a person, this is an example of literacy, when a person is first time going to that van, they just teach them that how to proceed with each and every step. Like if a person has to use an ATM, the person who will be available, they will be just trying to give a training session. Ki this is how you will be using the that instrument which they have just placed outside the banking the unit they have placed outside the hut. Generally they have kiosk huts.
But there is a problem. I have hand-on experience in selling financial products in Haryana villages like Radhana and Livan. I had written a case study also on that. Right, there people are not actually wondering that to just go and visit any bank. Even Kotak Mahindra and also Bank of India branches are on the threshold. They do not want to visit. They are actually dependent upon their post office agents. They will come, collect 100 rupees per day, and they will actually just go ahead and ahead.
The business correspondence word which I have used over there, the post offices are acting as a intermediary.
Thank you, ma'am.
The business correspondents are doing this task.
Yes.
This is the correct answer.
And since post offices are trusted means, so they feel more comfortable.
That point is clear. Any other question? Any other question, please? You have? Okay.
I guess that's all.
Okay, I have a few observations to talk about because if any question is being asked by the audience, so I skip that, my own observation. Probably, as you talked about that various, that's why I asked you that is the suggestion of the measures that have, you said the measures taken. So measures taken. So first of all, I'd like to mention about the extension of time period of the banking operation that has been announced. Previously, sir knows very well that banking hours used to from 10 to 2 only. 2 बजे के बाद जो है, अगर आपको 100 रुपए भी चाहिए थे ना, तो किसी भी हाल से मिल नहीं पाते थे, या तो किसी मित्रों से मांगे या किसी रिश्तेदार से मांगे. If you want even 100 rupees after 2 o'clock in India, sir, am I right? After 2 o'clock, if you want 100 or 200 rupees, just 100-200 rupees, you can ask only your friend to just as a borrowing, or you can ask your relatives. And it is very difficult to borrow if you have money in the bank. You can borrow if you do not have anywhere. So the extension of time period is from now 10 to 4. So this is one of the important steps that has been taken by the RBI, and it's all the commercial banks are complying to it, and that could be one of the measures taken to enhance the financial inclusion in India. Agree? Agree, disagree?
Yes, sir.
You have not included. And the another one is this that there are certain branches of commercial banks, they are open even on Sundays. So that can be another part of financial inclusion. And when you talked about the nationalization, more banks I have not heard of, because of the banks were nationalized for the first time in the year 1969. 19 banks were nationalized in 1969, and followed by 6 more banks in the year 1980. So, and of course, 1955 the SBI was nationalized long back, and that is separate issue. And you are talking about national more banks. If you are suggesting, I don't have any problem. That's why I ask you, is it a suggestion or a measure? If you are suggesting that more and more banks will nationalize, this is your viewpoint. I don't have a problem. Indira Gandhi wanted to nationalize, and she has done nationalize. So we fall in line whatever she has visualized, and you can also. But you are talking about measures taken. So I have not heard of any other step or taken by the RBI or anything, because we are moving. If you compare our public and private contribution to Indian economy, if we talk about this thing, we divide the whole process of economic development into two parts, right from 1951, since we launched our planning. From 1951 to 1991, we moved progressively from privatization to nationalization, and from 91 till now, so long Prime Minister Manmohan Singh is there, or he used to be the finance minister at one point of time, and the similar thing was followed by NDA government also in the meantime during Vajpayee regime. So we moved from privatization, from nationalization to privatization after 1991 till now. So we have not heard of anything that we are again move to from privatization to nationalization.
So I'll check this point again then.
You don't need to check it. This is
I'll
true and
definitely
fact.
check, because this
And the next is that as part of the financial inclusion, you have again missed another important point, that foreign banks have been allowed to operate in India, and they are doing on a very rampant basis. And most of our young budding managers, they have account in Axis Bank, isn't HSBC? रखते हो ना? Matter of pride, I have account in HSBC, I have account in HDFC, and so on and so forth. And finally, many more banks are being liberally allowed to open their branches and establish new branches.
Yes, sir.
This is something which we have talked about in a conventional part of banking. Now, if you go beyond this conventional part of banking, because I am doing a project on Islamic banking, so there are many more non-banking financial institutions based on Islamic Sharia, non-Sharia, economic Sharia. Not necessarily that all of them are following the Islamic Sharia. Some of the banks are following. Non-banking financial institutions are being established and being allowed by the RBI as a measure of financial inclusion in India.
Yes, sir.
So you have totally missed out NBFC role in the expansion of financial inclusion. Am I right?
So I have just included the microfinancial institutions,
No.
the NBFCs. Yes.
They have different stature.
Yes, sir. I
Okay.
just missed that.
Okay. Thank you very much for the very nice presentation
Thank you,
and putting all his effort. Now, third number, I have Amit Kumar.